Aloha gang, and welcome back to the 2014 Aloha Clinic training video series. We're going to cover blocking plays. Now we're going to focus a little bit more on some trouble areas that we had this year. I know we covered the free blocking zone quite a bit last year, but this year we're going to focus on low blocks, blocks in the back, and peel back blocks. Let's get started with the blocks in the back with play number one. This play starts out simple enough with trips up top, run up the middle, and he breaks away. I highlighted number 7 in white of the offense and number 7 in blue of the defense. 7 white is the person who's guilty of blocking in the back. And we're going to look at this from an end zone view and see how it develops from this look. And I'm going to highlight again player number 7 in white as he approaches 7 in blue. And at this point it looks pretty innocent. We've got a good side view of 7 blue. But as things transition into the play and as we move further down, that angle disappears. And 7 white's initial contact and the force of that contact is on the back. Now let's look at the mechanics. As we talked about earlier, it is a trips up top, so the head linesman's going to have the widest receiver initially. The line judge down below will have his wide receiver, and the back judge is going to focus on those 2 slot receivers. Now we already know that this is a run to that side, so one of them is going to be used probably as a blocker. And here he is. He's moving down that number 3 receiver to pick a linebacker. The back judge has to recognize that because the number 2 receiver is not threatened by anyone. So the back judge is going to transition into that point. The umpire will maintain his focus in the center. The line judge will pretty much drop his receiver and move into the line. And the referee is going to focus right in front of that runner because that's where the handoff takes place. The transitions change quickly as the runner emerges out of the back of the pile, and the umpire really only has the runner to look at and the possibility of number 50 maybe stripping the ball. The rest of the guys are bunched up behind. The referee is going to be cleaning up that action. The back judge is going to be looking a little bit in front, and the wing, the head linesman, is going to be probably looking at the runner at this point and getting into a position to rule on progress or blocks in front. From this point, the runner breaks even further upfield, and basically everybody's left behind other than the head linesman and the back judge. There's only 2 threats. Number 4 is going the wrong direction, so we don't have to worry about him. The 2 threats are the 2 players closest to the runner. The back judge is going to be keyed in closely on them. Head linesman is going to be looking to the runner and through number 7 of the offense, so he should have a good look at that approach angle. By the time we get to the initial contact on the back, the head linesman and the back judge should have very clear looks at this, and both of them should have a flag down. Now, if that block occurs when the running back is dancing on the sideline like this, we don't expect the head linesman to be in on it because he does have sideline responsibility. So let the back judge call this touchdown back. Blocking play number 2 was a correct no call. And I've got it highlighted here as the back judge's key. It's trips to the bottom. This is the number 3 receiver. He's the party that's suspect. Initial contact, separation, contact. So from a back judge perspective, this looks very, very suspect. But when you look at it coming in from the head linesman, the line judge side, you can see that there is some separation after that initial contact, but after that it's all dive by the defense. So if the back judge does throw on this, we would expect that the line judge would help him off of that flag. And for you guys who are double action progress freaks, you got a good example of that right here. So head linesmen on the opposite side of the field help out if they need help with that spot. Blocking plays are so difficult because there's so many moving parts. In this play we've got the back judge on the inside too, the line judge on the outside, but this changes very quickly because number 2 stays in and catches a pass. Therefore, the line judge now has the receiver and the back judge has first threat. This is a good no call for block in the back, and here's why. When the receiver catches the ball, the back judge has first threat highlighted in orange, and I'll tell you what, initially it looks bad. The line judge should be in a position trailing the play on the sideline and looking into that area just between the runner and where that first threat is going to be, and possibly reach into that blocker who's approaching him. As the play further develops, you can see that the blocker hesitates just a fraction and long enough for the person who's trying to get to the runner to turn to the side that he does get the side and not the back. So this is a correct no call. And if the back judge had thrown it, by looking at this view, we would hope that the line judge would be able to pull him off, because from the line judge's perspective, and this camera is almost exactly on it, it was pretty clear that it wasn't a block in the back. But from the back judge's look, not so clear at all. So it's one of those things that we may have to talk about it if we have a flag down. Play number 4 is a block in the back, and it's a little unusual, and we'll get into why, but the guilty party's highlighted with the arrow. He gets knocked down. We've got a pitch and sweep to the right, and what clears the way for the extra 5 or 6 yards is the block in the back by that player that was highlighted initially. So like we always do, let's look at the keys. This is a balanced receiver formation, so the back judge is going to be on number 2 on the line judge's side, highlighted with the orange line. When that player immediately steps back, he's out as far as the back judge is concerned, and the back judge needs to transition to the other side and pick up first threat within that geographic area, while the head linesman is going to pick up that lead blocker, and the referee still needs to make sure that the quarterback is clear of danger. Even though this is not a pass, he still needs to make sure that he doesn't get illegally hit. Once the play stretches out a little bit, we know the quarterback's safe, the referee can start to focus in on that lead blocking and the first threat. The back judge is starting to narrow his vision in. You can see that the umpire is cleaning up some of that extra action inside, and the head linesman is still locked on that lead block for a potential hold. And then as this moves now into the block in the back judge should be focused in on this block, because the other parties are covered. The referee has got the inside move of the running back. The head linesman still has the action and the blocking right immediately in front of the running back. So the back judge needs to understand that those areas are covered and move into the area that is not. And it would be his responsibility to pick up that block in the back. Play number 5 was called a block in the back. I don't believe it is a block in the back. Let's start out by looking at the formation. We talked about this in the quarterback video, where when you're compressed up against that end line, give yourself a little bit more room to officiate. If anything goes wrong with that snap, or if the ball gets loose around you and you have to scramble to protect yourself, we're now losing you as an official. So just take the time, get yourself some space so you have a nice wide and safe view. As this play gets away, you can see that the punt is short and bounces on the ground at about the 30-yard line. Player number 7 in the blue jersey is the first threat, and he's the person that was called for being blocked in the back against at that point right there. So we're going to open this up from the end zone view, which I really like this look. And you can see by this still shot, it's kind of a mess for umpires. So umpires, let's talk about your mechanic for a second. Punt plays are normally lane plays, which means you're not going to be in trouble of crossing patterns or getting hit or caught up in a blocking formation. So this is an opportunity for you to get off of your normal 7-yard distance and maybe back it up 10, 11 yards. That will put you in a position where you can get a wider perspective of the mess, really is the best word for it, that happens on these punt blocks. So get yourself a little deeper, get a little bit better view. Now the ball's away, and we can see that the ball again bounces well in front of the receiver, and we want the back judge, who's got that red arrow on him, to probably have a little bit wider and closer angle look in at that receiver and the relationship of the ball. And the yellow highlights on the screen, you can see that the line judge who's coming down has responsibility for that first threat in blue, but he's a long way off, so he should be thinking about picking up the only color that's in the cluster to see what's going to happen with that blocker who's coming down in a potential peel back situation. So the ball bounces, now the receiver's got it. The back judge, because the receiver is not threatened and now a runner, can focus on that blocking out front. And the line judge should be doing the same thing, even though now they are transitioning to runner, because the runner was not threatened, should be picking up that block as well. So this is the first of two blocks, and I don't think this is a block in the back. You can see that the defender kind of turns on him. It's a little bitty nudge and he moves to the side. So I like the no call there. Now here's the one that's setting up, and because the runner is moving to his right, you can pretty much already predict this is going to clear itself up. If the runner was going to the left, the blocker's in a really bad angle, but because he's going to the right, the defender's going to turn. He's going to have a pretty good side approach at him. Now the helmet contact, that's another thing. This is still a peel back block, so he needs to keep the helmet off the helmet. We may have something there. But as far as side block versus block in the back, pretty good side block. Play number 6 is what I call a false block in the back. And that's why we have philosophies that say if a player's in the process or very nearly in the process of making the tackle and does make a clean tackle, we really don't want a block in the back called. And this is one of those cases where we've got a man in motion moving into a quads side of the field and an open field situation where it's a very clean tackle and the umpire throws the block in the back. So I've got highlighted here on the end zone view the motion man moving in, and this is what makes it quads. It's pretty clear pretty quickly that the quarterback is going to take off and run with this. So that what we're looking for then is the quarterback going to slide? Do we have any targeting issues? And what are the key factors as far as players in the vicinity of making the tackle, which is a very clean and proper technique tackle. Now let's take a look at the keys. At the point that the quarterback turns this corner, the referee has no other threats, so he should be looking out in front and should be able to make a ruling on this as well. The umpire should have those two closest players that are highlighted in green, and the back judge and the line judge should be zeroed in on this guy that makes the tackle. And they're really looking to see if the quarterback slides, would he be protected for targeting, but also to see about that potential block. And you can see that when the guy puts his hands on him, he takes 1-2 steps. There's no forceful follow through. And then the defender immediately makes a perfect wrap-up tackle. So when the umpire throws this, we should have 3 guys that have the ability to pick that flag up. And there's no way that it should be able to stand. Play number 7, the first of the illegal low blocks. And this one's on the defense who chops down the lead blocker. Now previously, you probably could have bought your way out with some contact prior to the low block, but the rule has been modified, I think, for the better, that if the intent is low and the contact is low, it doesn't matter if the blocker gets a hand or other part on him. It's still an illegal low block. Let's look at the mechanics. We've got 2 eligible receivers low, 1 eligible receiver high. So the head linesman's going to take his receiver and the tackle. Line judge is going to take his receiver. Back judge has the tight end, and the referee, of course, will be looking through the backfield formation at the opposite side tackle, at least in the Hawaii mechanics. You guys can modify that however your mechanics reads. Transitions happen very quickly, and mostly with the line judge at this point. As you can see, the defender's lined up pretty close initially, but right at the snap, he opens up his shoulders and turns out, and that's your opportunity then to zone in on what would be the tackle area and find out what's happening, and that puts you right on the trouble area. Referee, you're looking right through that backfield action, so you've got to look too. And back judge, you're not going to get it because your receiver is entering into 4 or 5 yards downfield and also blocking, so that's going to be your guy. Take it one step further and you can see that the low block occurs. The line judge probably should be zeroed in on it, and the referee's probably got a really good opportunity to pick that up. Now this is a foul by the defense on a running play, so remember this is a tack-on foul now because it's at the end of the run. That's the basic spot. So we're going to go from the 20 to the 35, results in a first down, and off we go. Play number 8 is blocking in the backfield on a punt formation, and referee, this is going to be all you. Some referees tend to lock in on the punter, but there's no reason to do that. All he's going to do is catch the ball and kick it. You only have to concentrate on the punter if the ball goes over his head, or if there's a bobble and there's some pending contact. All the way up until that point, you're responsible for the protection blocking. And if you look at your pre-snap keys and you see how this formation is set up, you can see that left side is overloaded. So even though you have both of those backfield guys, I would say in this case, because that side's overloaded and you can see that's where the action's going to come from, that's where you would focus your attention. As you can see, immediately with the snap, 84 goes in and low blocks the guy. And you can see that the other protector also recognizes the situation and is getting to that side. So that's a pre-snap key we should be all over. And back judges, because this is a punt, watch out for those funny catches. They happen all the time. So it's real easy to pop an inadvertent whistle on something like this. So there was good control on this play to not do that. Play number 9 is another defensive illegal low block, and it comes from the person with the red circle around him, the linebacker, so a little bit distant. The formation is such that we have 2 eligible receivers up top and 1 below. So the line judge has the tight end. The back judge is on the other side of the formation. So this is really going to fall on the line judge. And as the play opens up, maybe the referee will have a look at it too as he looks through the handoff. But one thing to remember on an illegal low block by the defense, it's 1st and 10 from the 12. So this is going to be a half the distance penalty based on where the ball is declared dead. So make sure we know that before we get into announcements. This is not an automatic first down type of play.
Illegal low block on the defense.
Exactly.
Half the distance from the goal. Still first down.
Play number 10 is a pretty difficult one to get in a 5-man. In a 7-man, very easy. The person who's highlighted with the red circle is the person who low blocks. You can see the keys because we got trips up top. So like I said, in 7, there's going to be an official locked onto that. But in 5, there needs to be a very quick recognition and transition. And if you can learn to do this type of transition, it will transfer over to your 7-man mechanics and you can do transitions there as well. That's the kind of mental discipline and preloading that will allow you to develop and work bigger games. So let's watch this in full speed first. Got a low block out front. Now here's what happens from a key standpoint. We've got a snap, and as soon as these guys start to block, when I say these guys, 2 and 3 receiver, the back judge should realize we've got to run. The head linesman is going to drop his receiver and focus on the near block, which is the back judge's initial key, and the back judge needs to move down and pick up this block. And if you can do that, you have elevated your game and become a tremendous asset to your crew and your association. Play number 11 is the first of our peel back blocks, and this one is around the quarterback and in the backfield. So normally it happens on a punt or a change of possession, but if you have a long play that results in a quarterback scrambling outside, you might have a play just like this. So from the end zone view, we've got a pretty good blocking formation, breaks down, quarterback takes off running. Now when we get to this point, we're in the open field. We would expect that the referee would have a pretty good look at this. The umpire may or may not get caught up in some of his action, but because the quarterback's still in the backfield, we still have a potential pass. So the line judge, back judge may be locked up with receivers depending on what's happening in the secondary. So referee, this makes you primary for this block. Let's look at it again from the sideline, and we'll see that the umpire moves up and the action kind of just falls apart at the line of scrimmage. So the umpire is able to turn and see this action and rule it as a legal play. But remember, he may get caught up in the back with a couple of guys. But referee, you got to do a little bit of rotation and be able to see this one coming from a mile away, because this is a huge hit. And credit to the defender for getting his head low and to the side, and you can even see when he hits the receiver that the receiver's helmet has a little recoil back toward the defender before he gets just completely leveled. So credit to the defense and the officiating crew for this correct no call. Play number 12 was called illegal helmet contact, but that was an incorrect call, and on this peel back block, I think we have the necessary mechanics to get it right. So I've highlighted the person who comes in and delivers the blow, and even at full speed, you can see that he's kind of turning his body sideways. Now the elevation may be a little difficult to detect. Here he is from the end zone coming in. You can see that the helmet is low and he's leading with his shoulder. So the reason why we weren't able to pick this up is because one of the two officials responsible for determining how this block was delivered was not on key. So the head linesman, the sideline's not threatened. So you've got a very clear look at the forward action. And back judges, even though this is an offensive player, you're used to looking at guys rocketing in from the secondary. So this is a peel back block, very similar to some of those other defenseless contact calls that you have to make throughout a season. So we need to both be able to identify where the action is coming from and how the contact is made. And hopefully we can get together, discuss it, correct this as a legal hit, and move on. Blocking play number 13 is another example of a peel back block, but I'm going to stop it right as we get to the end of the punt and talk about the back judge for a second. Too far back. Cross them out, move them up. We want you in a position where you can see the catch and still be a safe enough distance away to not get in the middle of things if the ball goes crazy. But we need you to participate. And then once you've got your position and your catch confirmed, then don't just linger back there and play bag toss. Drop the bag as you run by and keep officiating because we need your help. There's only 5 of us out there for most high school games, so you need to stay involved in the action because we need your help. Now I'm going to highlight the person who gets hit on this peel back block, and it's going to happen real fast, so it's hard to see. So we're going to back it up, take it a little slower, and you can see that the posture is bad. It may not be technically targeting, but he comes in so high with this hit that it's hard not to call it. And it should be called because it has all the indicators and it's at high speed, and this guy's defenseless, and this is a peel back block, and the defender makes no effort to get below the shoulder line. So even if it's not technically targeting, we're going to probably call it that way because the blocker made no effort. And on top of all that, we've got a runner with a foot out of bounds, and then another foot out of bounds, and then he's clobbered, so we've got a dead ball, late hit out of bounds against the defense, on top of a live ball targeting, peel back, crack back block against the offense. So we're going to mark them both off, and when all's said and done, we're going to be right back at the same place. Well, that's it for blocking. 13 plays in 22 minutes. I hope it helps you guys, and good luck for the rest of the season.
I was wondering, did you happen to catch the professional football contest on television last night?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was most exhilarating. The Giants of New York took on the Packers of Green Bay. And in the end, the Giants triumphed by kicking an oblong ball made of pigskin to a big H. It was a most ripping victory.
Son, I'm just going to tell you this one time. You want to keep working here. Stay off the drugs.